Life is like a dog sled team. If you ain't the lead dog, the scenery never changes. And I couldn't figure out who originally said that, but let me know. That's one of my guest, Dennis Hammond's favorite quotes. And he lives where there's snow, so he might even have seen some dog sleds. Anywho, thank you for joining us this first part of January 2026, or whenever you're listening to this. Uh, Please let me know who you'd like to have on the show, or if you want to be a guest. Just reach out to me, uh, lucydumascoaching.com. You can send a message there. And I don't have any other brilliance or anything right now to start this. So I'll just start. How about that? My guest today is someone that I've known a long, long time, Dennis Hammond. So my last episode was a new friend, and this is someone that has been, 10 years longer than me in this industry. And he's gotten a lot more awards than I have and done a lot more teaching. And, he's just really contributed to this industry so much, and it's given him a great life. So let me tell you about Mr. Dennis. He's a master of photography, photographic craftsman from PPA. Sorry, I don't know why I stumbled on that. He's a native of Idaho and grew up in a small farm, but he wanted to see the world and travel. And so I'm going to ask him about how that happened. And let's see, he's got degrees in biology and geology. And he still loves doing what he does with photography. And also, we're going to talk about this. He has an upcoming book that is going to be amazing and gorgeous of his scenic work. Let's see. He's a certified professional photographer and helps on the committee for that with PPA. He's been president of ASP, and he and his wife Sherry are both American Society of Photography Fellows. And that's a big, hairy deal. It's something I aspired to years ago and just decided not to keep pursuing. But I don't know, is there less than 150
Yeah,
in the
there's
world?
less, I'm about 135-ish right now.
Yes. So I wanted to be one of the first women back when there was like 90. But, life unfolded. Anyway, I'm just kind of babbling. But Dennis is amazing, and you're going to love our conversation, I'm sure. Okay, hello, Dennis.
Good afternoon for us now. Good
Afternoon.
morning.
So the way that Dennis and I spend a little more time, and I have talked about him on this show, is the Ken Whitmire Wall Portrait Conference. Sadly, he passed away at 85, but I got to attend 10 or four. Um, how many times were you there, Dennis?
Times.
How many?
Several times I was there, yes.
Yes, yes. When he was 80, I thought, I'll be mad if he passes away and I never actually went there. And he gave me the opportunity to also be a teacher. Anyway, so Dennis, I think it's so close to the holidays, my mind is like a little mushy thing. So tell us a little about how you got started in photography in 50 years or 50 years ago and the arc of your business.
Well, like a lot of people, I started in high school on the yearbook, and because there were a lot of pretty girls, and so I started in the yearbook, shot in high school and college, took the college classes, and then I started working for a ski resort. And on my off time, I did ski photography. Well, then it got picked up, and some got published, and some got used for different medias and things back then. And then I started following the ski circuit and doing ski photography with like hot dog contests, the aerials and ballets and different contests. And so I worked for the ski resort, And in the summertime, I was cutting trails and logs. I was logging out new trails, and I accidentally had a back injury and it put me down. So I went to one of my college professors, and he says, "You need to go to a school called Winona."
Mm.
So I couldn't do really physical labor, but I drove clear to Indiana to take Winona class. And I took several classes out there from Gerhard Barker, Frank Christian, Frank Cricchio, and boy, I thought I had the world by the tail taking classes from those guys.
Hmm.
Came back and I worked for a studio in Utah and Colorado, and then in Idaho. And I finally says, "I'm done with this." I went off on my own, and here I am, 50 years later. I'm like everybody. I started doing a lot of weddings. If I never see another wedding, it'll be okay. But I still do weddings, friends, and friends for weddings and things. And my basics of my business started out with doing lots of schools and those kind of things, and drill teams and sports. And then I decided, well, that's just getting too hard. So I started elevating my work up to doing a lot more family portraits and commission portraits. I built a 6,000-foot studio on an acre in Rigby, Idaho, which, by the way, was the birthplace of television. And I had a standalone studio there for 37 years. And then things in life changed, and I ended up selling it and moving out of Falls. And I had gotten divorced. I I met another lady that was from Georgia when I was judging, because I'm a PPA juror and have been for over 36 years now. And I met her while she was taking the judging class, and she's a phenomenal artist and retoucher. And Sherry Hammon, McCallum then, and met her, and she moved to Idaho, and the rest is history. 15 years she's been out here with me, and we have just created this great synergy of business and life, and she loves the outdoors, and so we get out about and we teach workshops all over the world now. So we just got back from doing another one in Croatia. We got another one coming up in um, on the ASP is hosting it, but we're doing it through the Danube coming up soon.
Nice.
And we still have openings for. And then we got another one in Ireland and different places. So just follow me on Facebook and things, and you'll see all the places we're traveling doing workshops.
Do you have a favorite place that if you only went there, you'd
No, I
be,
love Tetons in Yellowstone. That in the States. But if I had one place, Italy.
yeah,
Italy would be one of my favorite places.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I concur. It's amazing. Uh, I was actually supposed to do a workshop with her name will come to me. She's a fine art photographer, and my flight was 9/11, 2001. I was packed, suitcase zipped. My flight was 3 p.m. I'm glad I didn't book an early flight. And of course, that was canceled. And so I ended up rebooking 3 weeks later and did a cooking school for a month, for a week, and then just traveled on my own. But yeah, I love, love, love Italy. All right. So everybody loves landscapes, and I think so many people wish they could figure out a way to sell these beautiful images that they make uh, for the joy of it or when traveling. So I know that you have done more than just made some pretty pictures that you put in your Christmas card and hang in your own world. So how have you been able and where have you been able to sell your personal work? But if you
That
sell it, it's also your business work. So,
well, of course, we still do studio and portrait work. But, we one thing is you have to get out. We hit the road. We went out there, and we're in galleries. So we go out and we find galleries that want to host our work. I've been in galleries in Wyoming, Colorado, Utah. I even had some in Sun Valley. You mentioned being in Sun Valley skiing and around here. And so that's one positive thing. Sherry and I entered not entered, we still enter juried art shows. So our work is always out there in front of people in those juried art shows. And that's a big thing. I used to enter in the state fairs and things a lot.
mhm.
And I just, I'm it's still give them the basis for where I'm at in the state fairs and entering in that and have booths. But just the direction I wanted to go with my business, I quit doing that. So it's just the juried shows, the galleries, and then I'm posting on Instagram and Facebook all the time. I have Hammon photography workshops, Hammon photography, and then Instagram. And believe it or not, I've sold numerous images from just posting on Facebook and Instagram. But the key to it is you always have to let people know they're available for purchase.
That's a great tip. Um, so when you say available for purchase, do you put a link where they go here and they can buy it, or how do
You,
they
I'm right
purchase?
now. My website is down because it got hacked, and I have to redo my website.
Oh,
So
fun.
that's another story. But basically, I just says contact me, and they DM me, they message me, they call me. I mean, I've had calls
Wow.
from Europe and everything, so they call me, and that's how we get to. And then I've got several people that bought numerous images of not the same ones, but different ones, and so they just start following me and watch my images. And I have one of my daughters. Her house is like a mini museum with all my
Mm.
work, and they have a lot of people over the house, and so it's like a little gallery in her home. But it's getting work out there. Another thing we have done is I've displayed in restaurants and high-end restaurants, and I had one restaurant that called me, and I ended up putting 48 pieces in their restaurant, and they paid me for every piece.
Whoa.
They, they paid me for every piece. And how we did that, it's a story in itself. But they called me, they wanted to do all these images, and so I made a proposal. I actually took photos of every booth, every location, and I actually dropped the photos I wanted, I thought would fit that location. And I went to him and I showed him all my proposal pages, and he looked at me and he goes, "How much do you need?" And that, I mean, it was about that fast. He thumbed to him that fast. Um, Here's another thing: is I had clients. I didn't. You never know where something's going to happen. So I had a gal call me a couple of years ago, and she's, "You don't remember me? You did my senior portraits 10 years ago."
Mm.
And she goes, "I've been stalking you ever since." And she's, "I know about your scenic work." And she's, "I now work for an architectural firm that does buildings and remodels for different buildings, things. And we're looking for somebody to offer artwork in these buildings." So we talked and we started putting artwork in some different banks and different buildings. They're remodeling and restructuring. They call it
Mhm.
refreshing their businesses. But this is from a client that I did 10 years ago, and you never would have thought that. Um, I hadn't thought about it for a long time. And she said, "We just loved our pictures and everything." And when she talked about her portraits, she had a fond memory of it. And then she goes, "We just loved what you did, and so I'm going to call you to do all this work."
Wow.
You
So,
never know where things are going to come from.
right, right. What I like about that story, number one, it's clear to me that you have been proactive about it. You know, you're intentional, you've got pricing, uh, you let people know that while my business, portraits, weddings, I know boudoir is one of your all the 50 years, something that you've loved and shared, but at the same time, you've found a way to let the world know that you also have this passion for landscape photography. Um, Usually, I think it can be a little um, watering down of the idea that someone's a professional photographer if they have a lot of their personal work, like on their website and things. But you found a way because what I'm here and what I know about you is you're super intentional about this as more than a fun hobby when you decide to go on vacation. That it's a it's part of your career. It's part of your intention. I'm sure you would do it even if you weren't selling, if you were retired completely and you were just traveling and such. But would you say that's true that you have a commitment to?
I, Absolutely. I mean, everybody goes out and takes nice scenic pictures or photographs, and I have rebranded myself. I'm not just a photographer. My business card actually says I'm a photographic artist,
Hmm.
and And they not understand exactly what it is until they see your work. And so and just like going out and doing a landscape with intent, I actually sell and market with intent.
Mhm.
And so that's very important, I think, as you mentioned, to get out there and just basically get off your duff and get out there and be proactive.
Do you think that living in a smaller town might make it a little easier for that? Because people can get to know you and you've had a studio that obviously people know that you're actively creating portraits and weddings and commercial things. Do you think that there's a
Well, yeah,
difference?
I was in a small town called Rigby, Idaho, and I built a 6,000 foot studio there, and I had a radius of people coming for 50, 60 miles regularly. I since have sold that building, and I just work out of my home now, out of by choice, because of the manner of kind of work I'm doing commission work.
Mhm.
But I think there's plus and minuses to both sides. Yes, people know you, but then sometimes people don't want to pay some of the prices. They because
Right,
I'm in rural Idaho, and they all think maybe you're too expensive. But then the ones that come to you know what the value they're getting.
right.
You got to establish a value for imagery. And my artwork doesn't just go out on a piece of paper. It's mounted, framed, and finished. And then I've driven clear to Las Vegas to hang work
Mm.
because they bought a number of pieces, and it was easier for me to take it down and hang it than it was to try to ship it. And to me, that was the part of the service that I offer for my clients like that.
I love that. I love that. My neighborhood, as I have had the arc of my career, was not a neighborhood that would have my ideal clients. And so most of my clients here in San Diego came from 20, 30, 50, 60 miles away, still in the county. But I marketed where the families were who had the income to be able to invest well in the wall art and so forth. Now my neighborhood is full of families and kids and a little 3 bedroom, 100-year-old bungalow is over $1 million. So my ideal client is here, but I'm not I'm not photographing actively. But I think it would have been a little awkward to be living right around my clients. Because now I pet their dogs and I, make faces and get their babies to smile at me and wave and such. But yeah, it's called South Park. If you ever hear, it's a cool little neighborhood just up from Balboa Park and the zoo, but it's a little community. It's like a small town that's just parked in the middle. So yeah, thank you for sharing that there's some challenges uh, with being well known right there in your neighborhood, just like, friends and family issues. The, there's something in the Bible about a prophet has no,
Prophet's not recognized in his own land.
yes. So probably the ideal is a town of about 30 or 40,000 where you can be a little bit anonymous and a little bit famous, but
It's
every
pretty hard though. You've been around for 50 years. My wife jokes that we can't even go to the store without seeing somebody I know.
yes.
With that being said, I always have business cards on me. I always talk to people. They'll say, "Oh, we need to get together, do our family portrait." So I have a business card, and I'll follow up with a phone call to them if I have their number or email. So it's always about that proactive thing. So
Yeah,
it's very important to always be out there in front of people.
right. Uh, so kind of the moral of this little part of our conversation is that people who think, oh, this won't work in my area, uh, if we do it right, it can work in any area, even if, like you said, 50, 60 miles away is where your ideal clients might be. But yeah, wherever we are, we can figure it out. And if it's truly like if you're like in outer Mongolia, maybe you need to move to a new area. Would you say,
Yeah.
Dennis?
It's all about location, 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 and everybody goes, well, you need to move to a bigger town, but I like the small town vibes here,
Hmm.
and so close to my national parks I love so much. I mean,
Yes. Oh
it's
my gosh.
hard to move to another place.
Yep. Okay. So let's talk about your book. Um,
Hey,
First of all, uh, how this is coming out January 6th. So is there a link or do they just go to your Facebook and say, hey, what about your book? Uh,
it's interesting. I put that on Facebook, and I've already had a dozen people message me wanting to reserve copies. It's a self-published book, and I've done a lot of one-ups and two-ups and things. And this has been a journey that I've been wanting to do for quite a while. So I have three or four in the works, but this is one I really wanted to do, and it's on the Art of Yellowstone in
mhm.
black and white, all in winter. So it's very reminiscent of Ansel Adams, one of my big heroes, and so a lot of the stuff is all in black and white. It's all going to be, but it's not just the pretty pictures. It's the design, the tones, the textures of the park in black and white. And then I did something that I made a artist statement and how I felt about each photograph. So each the right hand side's got the photo, the left hand side's got my artist statement, my feeling and mood. Because I journal and I keep track of these things, and I remember this stuff. Kind of getting harder anymore, and so that it's going to be kind of a motivational book as well. And then I got some other ones coming out as well that I got working on, but it was something I wanted to do, and just some challenges I had to get it out by Christmas. Wasn't going to happen, but it's coming out, and I'll have it at Imaging PPA. And but like I said, I've already had numerous people contact me already, pre-purchasing the book already.
Uh, just contact you through Facebook or email,
I had phone calls, text, emails, Facebook,
skywriting, uh,
folks
dropping
say,
leaflets out of an airplane. Uh,
I'll take it if that's what they want to contact. I'll
I
take
love it. So, what are some tips for self-publishing a book? Because I bet a lot of us have that thought of it'd be so great to create a book of personal work, or friends and family are always like, oh, your work is great to so many of us. You should make a book. So, talk about uh, some of the steps, some of the things people should think about, and so
Well,
forth.
that's interesting you brought that because number one is the desire to do it. Everybody's got the desire to do it, but it's because I've done numerous books for clients, for boudoir, for family, and sorry about that, and numerous clients, and but this was something. Number one, you got to have the imagery for it. I mean, you got to have. I had a theme, a storyline, something to do. So you need to have a storyline and a theme for it, and it's got to be very cognizant of the whole line. Is to be same storyline,
Mm,
and so it took me probably the better part of the last 4 or 5 months just to. I had all the images in the different folders, and I've been in Yellowstone numerous times, and so I went through each year and found the ones I liked, and then I started putting them together, and then try to match up the ones that so everything was looking good. It's going to be a rather small coffee table because it's only going to be 80 pages, but it's going to be something that you could use for motivation. But as I started putting together, my wife Sherry, she would look at it and say, "Oh, that's a good one. No, try this one." And so I have the other part is have a good support system. I have a beautifully talented wife that helped me support all this, and so I put all these images in a folder and I started putting together. And then I did the layout and found a company that I'm working with that was very helpful and thoughtful about help what I wanted to do and my goal and my desire to put this book out like this.
okay.
So
So,
yeah.
I want to summarize first. Got to have the desire. Number two, you've got to have imagery, but not just here's a whole bunch of pretty pictures, but come up with a theme. Number three is a good support system.
Yes.
And when you said layout, here's what little jingle jingle in my heart. So I was also on yearbook. I was the editor of my yearbook, and I think there's something about as a teenager creating a book. that is a legacy of a year uh, is so special. Would you agree with that? That
Oh,
experience,
absolutely. Well, I
layout, design.
layouts. I was just the photographer. They went out and did things, and I just submitted them the pictures. But you're right. The legacy. That's what I want to leave is the legacy. I've done a lot of one-ups, and my kids are, excuse me, they're all saying they want. I did a whole folio on my ASP folio, and I've done a bunch of others, and they're all trying to put dibs on my pictures, my books now. So I'm got to make duplicates of everything. But and then some resources. I mean, it's not cheap to do this.
No.
So so you got to have some resources to be able to put this together. And luckily, I've been saving up, working on this, so I was prepared for all this.
You said you have a good company that helps you, even though it's self-published. So what does someone look for in a publishing company?
Well, I looked for somebody that called me back. Uh, and that was a big thing is I contacted a couple and they called back. I actually had a referral to them from some other people that had done some books through them, and to me that referral meant a lot. And then I developed a relationship with them, and it's just a matter of finding someone that works with you.
Mhm. So is your hope with this book to make income eventually?
Well, yeah, of course, you always want to, never recoup. I mean, somebody goes, "Oh, you're making money on this," but you figure the last 10 or 15 years and all the trips into Yellowstone, the money, the expenses, you're never going to recoup all that. But it's to leave a legacy. But here's something I did that I picked up from somebody years ago that on the back of the book, it's a message to people that any one of these photos can be purchased as wall art for your home or office. It's just a reminder. This isn't just a pretty book. This is a portfolio for you to peruse. And if you like this or anything else, you can contact me. I have clients that contact me for stuff, and I said I may not have on my site right now, but I bet you in my files I have an image that you need, and that's happened quite frequently. I can
Uh,
find stuff or go out and shoot it for a designer.
mhm.
So that's always been in the back of my mind, trying to keep that going.
I love that. So in a way, it's like a calling card because you sit down, look through the book, something grabs your heart, and you think, "Oh, I want that." And then at the back it says you can purchase it. So what I'm hearing is the money that you lay out for this initially isn't necessarily going to, I don't know, you don't probably have to send kids to college anymore, but it's not
No,
going to make you rich, but it's going to promote one of your aspects of your business, which is selling the fine art landscape photography. So I love that to think about it as a calling card. Um, do you know who Leon Johnson is? You-
yes, he's a friend of mine. I'm having lunch with him next week in Georgia.
Really, really. Well, give him a big hug for me. We're friends. Anyway, right off the bat, I think it was WPPI that I hung out with him when he was new in the business. And he had put a book together that he just carried around that had 20 of his incredible portraits of women that looked like could be painted hundreds of years ago. And he'd talk to people and he'd show them the book. And you could just see, because I was hanging out with him a lot, how it elevated people's, like you could almost hear the wheels turning in their heads about, oh my gosh, this guy's incredible. And so quickly, he was able to get speaking, get sponsors. Um, he does, like you, he posts a lot on Facebook. His work just gets more and more incredible. But yeah, I saw the power of an actual nicely printed book, just one book, let alone, all the hundreds, thousands of years that are going to go out in the world.
Yeah, we did a lot of. one ups and two ups and things. And I think one thing it does when you create a book or portfolio like that, it creates validity that you
Right,
are a valid photographer and that you have the substance to carry forth and do that kind of work. Uh, I know so many people that they get one or two nice images, but to carry out that sustainability of producing
right,
enough, putting that book, that can be a challenge.
right, right. Do you ever license your work to be on cards and other kinds of
My own
things?
cards. That's something else I've done is I've designed my own cards and at like I always get called to do auctions and different things, and so I donate things like this and cards, and at the back of everyone's my name, my email, my everything, so I can so they're on my card. Because somebody goes, well. We don't want your name on the back. I go, well, you don't buy a Hallmark card without Hallmark's name being on the back. So
Right.
I have a series of my own cards that I've started developing with my scenic work and marketing and sales. So those are used a lot for donations and different things. But then I use them as gifts to give to people. So now I give somebody, eight, six, eight, 10 cards in a little packet, and
Hmm.
now they got cards and who knows where they're distributing to. So it just snowballs out when you start doing these kind of things.
Right, right. I, one of my thank you gifts when I've had a great client and they invested well is coasters. I'm not sure if Black River Imaging is still around. I think Bay Photo purchased them, but they made like bar coasters for a pretty reasonable price. And so I would wrap up six of my personal images and gift them coasters. But I don't have that back end of places to sell them. So uh, that could be a good project for me in these years that I'm in. But yeah, I love that. Now, the idea I've had friends make cards and go to gift shops and try to sell them and such early on. And, there's not going to be big money in it, but the idea of doing things that get you out there in the world and the branding and the perception and that people then might say, I want to purchase this. Did did you ever know Galen Rowell? Do you know who?
Yes.
So he was, um, I'm pretty sure he's from California, and he did the most incredible rock climbing photographs, nature photographs, mammoth, and whenever you went anywhere in the ski world, there in the racks of cards, his would just jump out at you, right? They're just exceptional. And sadly, he passed away. But here, I'm still talking about him 20 years later or whatever, because his work was so strong that I bet he, like you, he got a lot of people purchasing art from him, and I'm sure commercial work in galleries and so forth. So there is a way to, as you said, make cards and things like that work for you. Yeah, am I on?
That's a good one. Just get your work out there. And there again, I say you got to have some backing. Those aren't cheap, and you start financing and putting those all together. And some of those you might break even on when you start selling them, but it's all about just getting your work out there. And that's the reason why the book that we're doing and some other things is trying to show people that it's available for purchase and let people know that we are artists and they were making a living from this.
I just had an idea for you. Are you ready? So, vacation rentals, gifting your book to be in vacation rentals in the places that you photograph and that you love in the national park areas and things. Um, I bet a lot of people would purchase either a book for themselves or, want some portraits and stuff. So just a little thought. I have a vacation rental above my garage, and I've thought about, oh, I should have a little book with my photographic art of San Diego, and I just haven't ever gotten around to that. But if I was where you were, that being in front of tourists who love the area. Yeah. What thoughts on that? Have you ever done anything like that?
I have done some things similar to that, and I've actually got images in some places like that.
Area, I could see that potential uh, for people just trying to get that out there, but definitely
Yeah,
not like a bunch of freebies for
yeah,
sure.
we got ISDBM number for it, and we did so it's going to be available on Amazon and some other companies
Oh,
as well.
good.
It's always about that's what the book company we're working with. That's what they're doing. They help you so you can promote and sell it through other places as well.
Oh, I love it.
So that's why it's important to get some good relationships to work together.
Right. I'll say in this 6 years plus 6.5 years that I've been podcasting, if there's one common thread for people that are highly successful, which are most of the people I interview, um, is relationships, is the core with everything. Of course, we think relationships when you're photographing people, but when you're doing something like what you also do, which is landscape, the relationships are still the core to that, is what I'm hearing. Yep,
Yes, yes, it's important in any aspect of life, not only business but your personal relationships and have somebody to support you. It's like when I do my boudoir and stuff, my wife is very supportive of what I do, and she's my assistant on everything I do. So I always have somebody there as well, for my sessions and helps me out. But the relationship with your own personal lab when you're out printing your work,
absolutely.
so it's a total package, and it develops. And I love it when I meet people, and they'll introduce say, "Hi, this is Dennis. He's our photographer." So they introduce me. It's like our doctor, our attorney. He's our
Right.
photographer. So that's how they introduce me, and I go, "This is pretty cool."
Yeah, I love that. I love that. What labs do you love?
We use ACI for some things, and then we do a lot of self printing in here as well. Sherry with her lab, we can do a lot of self things and print things. We don't do metals and that, but we can do our own canvases and prints
Hmm.
here. It's a combination with the synergy with the lab and ourselves for the find the work that fits us the best.
Um, where do you get framing?
Um, there used to be some local framers, but we actually have a company in Salt Lake that we have uh, incorporated into our business and the styles, and we went down and we found a couple of dozen different moldings that we like, and it fits a lot of people's homes, the styles we got. And so we don't carry any frames anymore because it's just a cost of goods that's increase your cost of holding them.
Hmm.
So everything is custom made, and then I'll have them shipped, or somebody will bring them for me. I'll go down and pick them up. Because a lot of times we'll go to Salt Lake and we'll pick up supplies for Sherry, boxes for shipping, and then frame. So it's always a day of um, just business, picking up supplies and things.
Mm,
And so it's just something we can just incorporate into our costs, how we figure that all out. But
right.
we have a company in Salt Lake that we work with.
Oh, I used to love frames like Castor frame and Hussar with the hand gilded, and they're no longer around. And I just was so proud. You can see a couple of
Yes.
Castor if you're looking at the video. But I made probably 20% of my income from frames, and I would install them here. It's easy, and there were wholesale framers that would just ship them right here. So yeah, there's some good money in framing when you're selling wall portraits.
Well, not just the money of that, it's also because we frame, because years ago I came across this that people would buy my portrait work or even my landscape work and they go, oh, we'll frame it later. And I go in their home a year later or something, and it's still sitting behind the couch or something because they
Yes.
hadn't got around to framing it. So now we just incorporate that into the final product and we say, here's what it is. And then in addition to that, like if it's local within, like say, a couple hours even away, we will incorporate that in as going and hanging that frame in their home, hanging that framed
Awesome.
image in their home. And I can tell you, we probably saved a lot of marriages because the
Mm,
husband want to do it, so they let me do it. So I have my framing tools. I walk in and we measure out, and I know where it goes, or if I've already been in the home. And so it's just another service we offer. So when you're pumping these out at 20 or $30 an image, where you can't do this kind of work. That's why you got to price appropriately and have value on your image. So when you sell the image, the frame, and then you hang it, they know there's a value to that.
Yes, I love it. Well, clock on the wall says that's just about all. I don't know where that came from, something in our childhood. Um, so two questions. Number one, how do we get in touch with you? And I know you have a gift uh, download that if they email you, they'll get this. So how do they get in
Well,
touch
if they
with you?
email me or contact me, they can email me at Dennis Hammon, Hammon, photography at gmail.com. So Dennis Hammond Photography at gmail.com. We'll send out that list. Plus, then you find out about find me on Facebook. You find about our trips and workshops we're doing. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and then email that. And we're going to send out the 6 tips to help you as a landscape photographer to you to help you, get started in your landscape work.
Love it. Okay, last question is your either parting thoughts for us, or if there's something that you would later be like, oh, I wish I had given that last tip. So, what do you have for us, Dennis?
Get up and go do it.
Mm.
Everybody, I teach workshops, and I say we're getting up at dark 30. Oh, I don't get up at dark 30. Well, the kind of shots that we want to get, you have to get up and you stay out late. So I get up at way dark 30 and come back way dark 30. So just get up and go do it.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Well, thank you, Dennis, and everybody listening. I'll try to do my little quick wrap up as usual. After Dennis and I have a little private moment or two after, um, after, anyway, after what? I don't know. Sorry. I'll probably edit out this babbling part right now. But anyway, stay tuned. Dennis, thank you, thank you, thank you for all that you have done for this industry, first of all of your service. People have no idea. Dennis is getting two giant awards at the PPA convention for the service to the industry. Both of them are service, correct?
Mhm.
Yeah, big deal awards. Like, he's luckily one of the people still around that people, umpteen people stand on his shoulders doing what they do. So thank you for that. And thank you, Dennis, for being on my show.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Okie dokie, y'all. I'm back. um, One of the things I love about being a podcaster is that I have an excuse to sit down with someone that I've known for years that have never just had a chance to have a one-on-one conversation where I get to ask them things and just listen and share a little. Um, and, he and I have been in the same circles and at meals and at workshops and things, but I love this. So, all right, Mr. Dennis talked about how he gets his personal work, his travel scenic photography out in the world and sold. And he's in galleries, restaurants, juried shows. He used to do state fairs. I've done a few state fair exhibits here in San Diego, or entries that I have sold some of my personal work. Buildings, he likes to have displays. He says also his Facebook, when he posts things, people just reach out to him and say, "Hey, I want a print," and he always mentions that they're available for sale. So the thing is, he's intentional. This is a part of his business. It's not his hobby only. Um, let's see. And then we talked about his book, and this one coming up is Yellowstone in black and white. And it's also not just the photographs, but he's hoping to inspire people. Um, and so I got 7 tips if you have an idea that you'd like to do a book. So, one, of course, is desire. And two, you have to have the imagery and have a storyline. So, not simply tons of nice, pretty pictures, but something that would have some cohesiveness. Um, get a good support system. You know, you can't always marry that person, but find a way to do that. You need some financial resources as well as good publisher, good relationships. He got number 5, he got referrals to find the publisher for his book. And then we talked about that it's not a big money maker. In fact, I know people who, uh, it's a money outlet, or they spend money, they never fully recover, but using it as a calling card and for him as a way to get his imagery out there where people might buy the wall art that I'm sure he charges a very healthy amount in order to do that for people. So, and and 7, he said it can create validity that you're not as some um, person with an iPhone that happens to get a good shot now and then, but that you're intentional. And I've had great iPhone photos, uh, some of them that were luck. So I'm not dissing the potential for whatever equipment you happen to have, but it lets the world know you're intentional about creating art and selling art. We talked about how framing can be an important part of your business if you're selling wall art. And his last tip is to just get up and do it, whatever it is you have in your heart and your mind. So thank you again and happy new year if you're listening early in 2026 or anytime off in the future, maybe in 2036 or 3036. I hope this outlasts the planet somehow. Anyway, now I'm just babbling, but I'm just sending you big hugs and visualizing amazing success for you. And reach out to me if you think you might like coaching, need some support. I'd love to give you a complimentary session. I usually have about 3 a month available. So reach out to me. And yeah, that's it for now. So bye.